All right, so today I wanted to talk about kind of a fun topic that me and my church business group talked about, and it just really resonated with me. So I thought it'd be cool to just discuss super quick. It's just about good work versus toil, and then good rest versus leisure. And I think a lot of people don't know the difference. I didn't either before learning about this, and it completely affects the way that we show up, how we feel, and the results that we get.
Oh yeah, when you first brought up this topic, I really had no idea what you were talking about. I had to kind of sit with it for a few minutes and think about it, but it's huge. It's 2026 now, right? January, where people are hustling and bustling, right? We live in a world where basically people like either grind themselves into burnout or they just cascade into constant distraction. Neither of those things are really going to create any kind of fulfillment. So today we're going to kind of break down like what healthy work actually looks like and what healthy rest actually looks like and how to stop swinging between that burnout and avoidance.
Yeah, because as we all know, it's definitely I tend to burn myself out way too much. So that's why, like, when they talk about this, I'm like, yes, I need that. And I know a lot of people who listen kind of are in that same mindset too, just like going and being pulled in so many different directions. So I think it's such an important topic. So, starting with the difference between good work and toil. So, good work is meaningful, it feels aligned, it feels purposeful. It's typically work that energizes you. It builds your life instead of draining it. And like, yeah, it's going to challenge you, but it doesn't like drain you and kill you. Yes, it's going to require discipline, but it doesn't destroy your spirit. And so you usually end up finishing the day feeling very proud and like accomplished and like you got something done, even if it was challenging and hard.
Yeah, you're probably the same way, but I'm sure there's been days where you've worked so hard and you've worked so much, and at the end of the day, you're exhausted, but it was like a joyful exhaustion. It's almost like when you have a really good workout. It's like, oh, that was a great workout, but it almost energizes you. You feel so much
Mhm.
better. And then on the flip side, there's been days where like I feel like I've done nothing and I'm like worn out at the end of the day. And I'm like, that was kind of like a draining. Like I don't feel like I did anything, or even if I worked super hard, it wasn't anything that really was valuable to me. And I'm just like, and that's nothing. So that's the good work, right? It's meaningful, like you said. It's aligned, it's purposeful, and toil is just kind of like the grind. It's just stuff that just like drains your soul. Like work from a place, whether it's like fear or pressure or insecurity or like you're trying to prove yourself. So it feels like you're forcing things, right? It feels like you're hustling. You're like you're working real hard, but there's like you're really not going in any direction, or you're overthinking every task, or you're super busy. Like people are like, oh, I'm super busy, but people are like, what are you really doing? You're not really doing anything, right? Or it's like working to earn, worth or money instead of building something like really meaningful. So toil more so comes from like a stressed out, chaotic, like anxious place. You're just white knuckling your way through life and calling it hard work.
Yeah, because I like to say it's like, have you ever gone through a long ass day? Like you were working, you did so much, and then at the end of the day, you're like, what did I even accomplish? Like, like what? Like it feels like nothing happened. That's toil.
Yeah, yeah. I've definitely been through those days, and like I said, I've been days where I've worked so hard, and at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm exhausted, but man, like I feel great. Like I'm gonna sleep well tonight, and I'm gonna feel super accomplished.
Yeah, and the crazy part with that is we can do the exact same task, and for someone it can be good work, and for other it can be toil. And I think it's about your why and your state and the mindset behind it, not necessarily the task itself. So it's like you always have the power to shift between those. So it's not necessarily that you need a whole new job or to do different tasks. It's more that mindset, the intent, the motive behind it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So how do we know like which one we're in?
Yeah, so a question that is good to ask yourself is, does this create life in me or does it drain it out of me? Or am I building something or am I running from something? Because when you're in that good work, you feel very clear and grounded and purpose driven. Again, like we're challenged in a good way, but you feel like you're building that momentum. You feel like you're growing, you're becoming a better version of you. Where on the other side, when you're in toil, like you were saying, it's like you feel stressed and scattered and just in survival mode and overwhelmed and like you're never doing enough. And again, like you're working harder, but not really getting anywhere. So it's like if you're constantly exhausted, even when you're working hard, that's usually a good sign that you're in toil. But if you're tired and satisfied, that's when it's the good work.
Yeah, I think you'll agree with this, but when we're working with clients, it doesn't matter how many clients we have that day, or what we're going through with them, or how emotional or how whatever it may be. Like it feels amazing, and it feels so fulfilling, and I love it. I have so much fun. And there's been other times where I've been other jobs or other, activities where I've worked just as hard or harder, and I don't feel like that. I feel like it's just draining, wearing me out. And it's even though, same type of work in terms of, quality and quantity, I'm just stressed and like you said, in survival mode, just overwhelmed by everything.
Hmm.
All right, let's talk about this. I think this is so. I think a lot of people probably get that. I think that's pretty easy to understand. Like, yeah, I get that. Uh, but what about good rest versus leisure? I think that's probably where we need to spend a little bit more time on, and where people, I don't think really people are getting the good rest. And so let's talk about the second half of this, right? So I think this is going to hit deeper for a lot of people because a lot of us I feel like confuse it with escapism, right? And so like good rest is restorative. It reconnects you to yourself. It fills, not feels, my country and name. It feels, it fills your tank, right? And so like examples of good rest would be like nice leisurely walks in nature, journaling, prayer. That'd be the ultimate, probably good rest, right? Reading, healthier, like slower mornings, quality conversations, light movement, like breath work, like going to bed, like when you feel like it, and early nights type of that. Of course, all that's going to look a little bit different in different ways for different people, but basically, it gives you clarity and it gives you good energy, and you feel more like yourself and feel like who you want to be afterwards.
And so, comparing that to leisure, which is what most people default to, they have a long day at work, they feel drained, they just want to numb out. Keep in mind, this usually comes after you've been toiling all day. So it's like they go hand in hand. Like, I
It's
don't
all
know if that's
related and connected, right?
no, like both of them feed into this. Like it is so important. It's like, yeah, you have a long day at work, you feel drained, you just want to numb out, and so then you go to TV or you scroll Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or whatever it is. You go and have a drink or you go to the cupboard and grab a snack. You binge out on Netflix or you just zone out and sit on the couch. And again, that's not to say there's anything inherently wrong with leisure in certain times, but you just have to be mindful that it doesn't refuel you, it's going to numb you. Whereas the good rest is what restores you. So it's like the leisure is disconnecting you from your life, but the rest reconnects you to it. And again, they feed off each other. When you do that good work, it leads to good rest. And when you're in toil, you're gonna turn to leisure to try to escape it because you feel that lack of fulfillment.
Well, it's like a lot of things we talk about. For example, having like a splurge item, a food item, or something high in sugar or an alcohol or something like that. If you have a purpose for it, and if it's planned for it, then every now and then it fits well in your life. So like TV, there's some TV shows that I love to watch. And so I want to watch those and I enjoy it and I get something out of it and I feel good about it. But if you're just sitting in front of the TV every single night just to numb out or just to escape everything else, that's what we're talking about in terms of it doesn't restore you and it doesn't fill you up. And you're just going to go kind of through those motions. And the next day, you're going to have the same type of problem.
Yeah, and it compounds too. Like for me, like I've wrote a lot of content on this recently because it's been top of mind. It's like I haven't had a TV for years. Like I don't watch TV. I don't watch shows or anything like that because like I realized this a while back and I didn't realize like I wasn't able to articulate it this way until I heard these concepts. But it's like I never felt good after. It's like again, it was just numbing. It was escaping, and I just felt equally as drained, even more drained going into the next day. Whereas the days where like like my Sunday, for example, is like my recharge days. Like anytime that I go and just go for a walk without my phone, or I go and do my journaling or my prayer, reading, taking time to go sit at the beach and unplug and connect. It's like I feel like I can take on the world. Like I feel so recharged, and that carries me through the whole week. So it's just like finding those things that truly recharge you and fill your cup are so important. Just being mindful of that. It's like how do you feel after you're doing these things?
Right. And you have to have a purpose for these things. And so it's like, if you don't love your work, right? If it's just a toil and you come home and you don't have anything else to do, whether it's, you don't spend time with your family or you don't have hobbies or you don't have good, friend relationships or family things like that, then you hop on social media for a couple hours and then you go to bed or whatever it may be. It's all connected. And the further you go into one direction, the harder you go in that direction and it just becomes really hard to get out of it. Or if you go in the right direction, then your life is just super fulfilled and you're very busy, but it's a very meaningful busy and you just feel very energized, even though your day was just packed.
Hmm.
All right. So what if someone's sitting here and they're like, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. Like maybe I'm kind of in the middle somewhere, but just kind of ask yourself after you do something like, is this something that I feel clearer or calmer or more grounded? Or when I get off this, it doesn't really help me out. Like I just actually feel more anxious or my, more foggy or just disconnected. So if you feel guilty or overstimulated or just like mentally drained after your like quote unquote break, then that's not rest. It's just distraction.
Yeah, simple rule I use for myself is good rest gives me energy, leisure steals it. Simple as that.
Yeah, I like that. Good rest gives me energy. Leisure steals it. That's good. That's good.
And so this isn't just mindset stuff either. It does impact your health and fitness. Naturally, I feel like we need to tie that in too. That's how
We
we
have to
operate.
find it. Yes, for sure.
But I mean, like, if you're in toil, your stress hormones are elevated. Your recovery is going to tank. Your hunger goes up. Discipline goes down. And that's where a lot of people can start overeating or skipping workouts just to cope as well.
Well, and if you look at somebody, if someone, let's say an alien came down to Earth and they walked around and they saw people like sitting like on benches in the parks or on their couch at home, and they're sitting there just watching them for a couple hours, and let's say they're just on social media, they're like, wow, these people are just like super laid back. They just sit there. I bet you they're so calm, chill, because there's like no worries, right? But you know, all the research shows that a lot of what people watch is very stressful, even if they're not meaning to, right? It overstimulates them. So, like you said, your hormones get elevated, and it's not good. Afterwards, you don't feel better. You feel more drained, or you feel more stressed out, and then you have to go to bed, or then you try to do something else. Maybe you go back to work, and so of course that's going to affect your job performance. That's going to affect how you fall asleep. That's going to affect all the cravings that you want to have later on at night. The more stressed you get off your phone, you're like, man, I'm starving. You're not really starving. What's happened is, your cortisol levels are jacked up now, and now you're all of a sudden you got these false cravings. You're like, I need to go eat something, and not a good trickle down effect, right?
Yeah, like they all feed off each other. It's like the good work, translates over into the good rest. And like again, same with the toil and the leisure, and then it translates over into how you like approach your fitness habits and everything, which translates over into everything else. Not to like stress people out and like, but it's like it all connects, just like everything in health and fitness. So it's very important to like be mindful of these concepts.
Yeah, so we want you to think about like if you rely on the leisure, you're not actually replenishing yourself. Even though you feel like, oh, I'm sitting down and I'm not doing anything, I'm relaxing. You're just going to kind of stay in that cycle of burnout or poor recovery, low energy, and I mean it's easy to make those excuses like not do the things you need to do, feeling drained, I'm just tired, I'm worn out, and not be able to show up the way you want to. But when you shift into that good work and you have that good rest, like your life completely changes, right? You'll start making better decisions. You're able to regulate your emotions better. You stay consistent. You have energy for workouts. I mean, how many times have we hear people say, oh, well, I couldn't get to work out because I was super tired, or I was this. The other day I was walking down the hallway and I was changing into my workout clothes, and another teacher had made a comment and said, oh, like there's Lawrence about to change into workout. I'm about to go home in my PJs. And I'm like, nothing wrong with that. But I mean, basically, she was just going like, I'm just going to sit down and do nothing for like 5 or 6 hours. You're like, I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's like I was super energized and I felt amazing after the workout. And so I don't know. You're going to handle stress better instead of avoiding it. And this just creates that sustainable health, right? We're not talking about perfection. We're talking about progress and alignment, right?
But yeah, I feel like that example you mentioned is like just such a perfect highlight of that. Because I imagine, like, again, like different things work for different people. Not like there's nothing wrong with going home and staying in your PJs, but I imagine that you felt a lot better coming out of that workout than she did just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, like, and that's the thing. We've always told people too, like, when you get done with a workout, you should feel more energized. Whether it's in the morning, you're ready to take on the rest of the day, or let's say it's in the afternoon, you feel like you've accomplished something that day, and you're able to kind of take the rest of that afternoon, evening, and prepare for the next day. So, I do think it spills over into the next day. And when you wake up, you're more energized instead of being tired and ready to knock the day out and be done and go home and be in your PJs again. And I think there's a difference between rest and recovery as well, right? So rest is kind of like a period where it's just like little or no physical activity. that allows your body to recover. And that's kind of like what, she was probably thinking. Like, I want to go. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I've worked really hard. And it's probably going to involve either stopping exercise or not doing anything at all. And that's just kind of like rest. But recovery to me is more of an active thing, right? It involves like a range of activities to help the body and the mind like restore, right? And so like light movement, it could walking even, it could be workouts obviously are amazing, but sleep and hydration and breathing exercises, um, I think it's essential for long-term performance, to feeling better, to reaching, to lose weight, to build muscle, physical repair processes, all those kind of things. When you sleep, that's really when your body's like repairing itself and recovering. And that's where, why we talk about how important sleep is. So I think there's a big difference between just resting and actually like the recovery part of me is like an active thing.
Hmm.
I think it'd be better, for you to go home and go for just a long, slow walk. And I think that would be so much more beneficial than sitting on your couch for a little while.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's such a good point because I don't think a lot of people talk about that difference between rest and recovery. And a lot of times, like even when clients are sick or they're sore, I'm like, okay, the best thing to do is like go for a walk, like get your body moving. It's going to help with that recovery as opposed to just sitting there. Then you just feel more tight and stiff. Or like, have you ever like done a workout and then you sit and work or sit on the couch and then you get up, you're like, oh man, everything hurts.
I mean, it's weird, but I can't sit for like I stand all day. Like I sit down for like 5 minutes. I'm like, man, like I just feel all,
Yeah.
and I do. I encourage. I mean, I do it myself. I encourage. If you're not feeling great, like not like you're sick where like you really need to lay down and rest, but like you're not feeling great. Maybe you have a cold or maybe you have a little injury. I mean, I really think our body's meant to be active, and I think we heal quicker when we do the thing, light activities, do move a lot, be active, and our body just kind of shuts down when we just lay down and we're like, oh, I have a little cold, I'm gonna lay down for a couple of days. Our body's like, well, okay, let's shut it all down instead of, hey, let's work through this and we'll knock it out in a couple of days and you'll be fine.
So, yeah, if you're listening to this and you feel like you're stuck in that grind or realizing that your form of rest is more of a distraction, I think this awareness is the first step. And that we kind of just wanted to plant that seed so we can start shifting toward more good work and restorative rest because it really will change everything, your energy, your mental health, your habits, your fitness. And also want to highlight, I created a new guide, 5 steps to your next 5 pounds down. Basically just goes over the 5 simple steps you need to take to get your next 5 pounds off. It's the same framework we use with clients. So you can access that for free. It's in our community. I'll drop the link in the show notes if you want to grab that. It's gonna be a good way to kick off the new year, drop in a few pounds, and just building the right habits to make it last long term. So yeah, that's there. And we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.